Hi everyone, welcome to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Merdad and I create content on Azure Data Services, Microsoft Fabric and AI-powered data solutions to help data engineers and data developers. Today, we are building an AI-powered sentiment analysis pipeline in Microsoft Fabric using Azure OpenAI and PySpark. So we will take real customer feedback, process it with AI, and visualize the results. All are happening in Fabric. Plus, we will automate everything too, so you can just sit back and get insights without any manual effort. And don't worry, this is all super simple. Even if you are new to Fabric or AI, I will walk you through every step. And if you want the full code and the data sets, I've linked them in the description. So what are you waiting for? Let's jump into the content and let's see what it is offering for us. So our goal is building an AI-driven sentiment analysis pipeline in Microsoft Fabric using Azure OpenAI and PySpark. The steps are setting up a Fabric Workspace and Lakehouse, uploading customer feedback data, deploying Azure OpenAI in AI Foundry, running sentiment analysis with PySpark, and automate the execution with our data pipeline, and then visualize it in Power BI. So let's jump into Fabric portal. Let's create our workspace. I just moved to the workspace here and create new workspace. Let's call it AI sentiment analysis. And let's apply it. Once it is created, now it is the time to create our Lakehouse. In order to do that, we can just create a new item from our create page of this workspace, and we can just look for that here as Lakehouse. And for this one, for example, we can just call it customer feedback analysis. Example, Lakehouse. It's created, and once it is created, we can upload our data set, the file that we are going to analyze the its data. And for this one, I'm going to just upload a file, a CSV file, which I have created previously. Customer feedback.csv. It is a CSV file, and just cancel it. From here, I can just choose it and overwrite if it is already exists. However, it is a new file, and then completed. Then we can just navigate to our files, and we can see its file. By clicking on the file, it is going to be open, and we can just see the content. As you can see, it has only 2 columns, customer ID and feedback. Yeah, we're done with the uploading the file and preparing our Lakehouse. So let's jump into the my Azure portal. In the Azure portal, I'm going to create a new resource of OpenAI service. I'm going to look for that, Azure OpenAI. Let's create one service here. I'm going to create a new user group. Let's also call it AI sentiment user group. And the name of that also, it should be a unique name. To just make it unique, I use my name, AI sentiment, for example. And the pricing tier, I choose a standard one. The subdomain is already used. Let's just add something like this. It is available. Good. Let's go for the next. We keep everything as is. and let's create it. So our deployment is completed. It took around 1 minute. I stopped the video, but we can just go to the resource, and from there we can just continue in our AI Foundry portal, and there we can create our model. Just deploy one of the existing models that are available to do our analysis. Basically, this is going to provide us with a chat box for just interacting with that model. We're going to just deploy a base model. The models that are available here, you can see it is listed for OpenAI, and of course there are also other models that we can use, like the DeepSeek R1 that is recently released and added to the AI Foundry. But for this one, let's choose GPT-4o, and I'm gonna just confirm it, and let's choose the standard one and deploy it. So once it is deployed, we can just open it in the playground, and as you can see, in a second it is created, and we can just start to test it. For example, we can just ask some questions. What is the CSV file, for example? And the answer is going to be generated by this model. So we're good here. What we need from here to be used in our Fabric portal is going to be basically the endpoints and keys. So the endpoints and keys are going to be utilized in order to connect to that model when we want to do our analysis using AI. So we keep this actually a window open, this tab open, and let's back to Fabric. So when we are in the Fabric, there are two ways for analyzing this data. One way is just analyzing the CSV file directly in our notebook. The other one is that even we can just load it by right click on this file and just load to table. We can create a table. Just let's call it raw underscore customer feedback, and then we will just walk you through on that table, and we can just check how we can analyze it. So our data is loaded in the table. By just clicking on the table and expand it, you can see the table that already has the data from the file. If it doesn't show for you, you can just simply click on this three dots and refresh your table folder. However, as you can see, the data has been loaded here, and the table has a sign of this triangle, which means it is a delta table. And behind that, actually the files behind this table are basically a Parquet file or some Parquet file based on the size of your file, of your table, and a folder of delta log. So yeah, we are good with this one. Of course, you can just query your data using the SQL analytic endpoint that you have in your Lakehouse. However, we will just go for this data analysis for now. Let's create a new notebook, and that notebook is going to be linked to the Lakehouse that we just created. And in order to do that, I have just prepared some codes here that are going to do some sort of connection to that AI model that we have, and basically do the analysis. So let's just do it step by step. In order to just connect to this guy, we need to just import some functions and import some libraries. So here I'm going to import the functions of column and UDF that we will need it later, and also the importing the requests to be able to actually connect to the OpenAI endpoints. There are three actually variables that I've got here. The first one is my endpoint, the URL that we can just take it from our endpoint in Azure OpenAI from my Azure portal. Let's just copy it from here and paste it into my notebook. We will need a key in order to connect to this service. It is the key. Let's just paste it here, and a deployment name. The deployment name can come from the deployments here. If you go to your Azure AI Foundry, there is a name for your deployment. Then you can just copy it and let's paste it here. So our variables in order to connect to that OpenAI service is completed by just clicking on the run button. We basically start our Spark session and also just assigning those values to these variables. So while this one is busy loading, let's bring other code. The other code that I would like to show you here is basically the user-defined function that I've created here to, it has, the function has an input, a processing, and after that it has an output. So the input will be our text, the feedback of customer. The process is connecting to our AI service, and the result of that is going to be, basically the sentiment. That if a feedback is positive, is neutral, or even is negative. So as you can see in the user-defined function, it got a name, analyze sentiment, and the input is text. We've got the try catch, just if there is any problem, error, whatever that happens, it is going to return error. So we may encounter with errors even when we are doing this, using this service from OpenAI for any reason. But for now, let's say we've got a payload. This payload is going to be sent to the Azure OpenAI endpoint. So what is the payload is actually containing is it has a prompt. The prompt is basically analyze sentiment as positive, neutral, or negative. Then we pass that text that is basically the customer feedback. And about the tokens, it is limiting to 50 token. For now, I just want to make it 100 to just a bit increase it to avoid any basically any exception or error. And the response will be just by posting this payload to this endpoint. As you can see, it is using the variables that we have already assigned the values to. And yeah, that's it. The payload is going to be passed, and the response of that, the JSON, is going to just choose the content of positive, neutral, or negative in the sentiment, and it will be actually returned wherever that this function actually function is going to be called. So our Spark session has been started. Let's execute this user-defined function as well. And the other one will be just let's start analyzing the data, the actual data, right? Firstly, let's read the data from our Lakehouse, from that table. I have a data frame here that is a delta actually format in delta table, and the table is from tables raw customer feedback that we have already set this name, and we can just show the data from this data frame. As you can see, the data, a sample of this data has been loaded, the top 20 rows of that. And so our next step will be just utilizing that AI service, which is going to be something like this. I'm going to create a new data frame and adding a new column as sentiment. And I'm basically passing the feedback to that function that I have created above to get the value for this sentiment. So I'm basically doing it per record in this data frame. And once I have the value here, I'm going to just write it to a new table, right? And in order to do that, I use the function of, write and format of the delta. It is going to be overwritten actually if it is an existing table, and it is going to be saved as this name, customer feedback enriched. And at the end of that, it is going to just show this data frame to us. Let's execute it, and it is going to take a bit longer because it is just talking to that AI service. So as you can see, the data has been processed. It took around 3.5 minutes for only 100 records of the customer feedbacks. So however, we can see some sentiments has been added. So as negative, positive. As you can see, for some of them, it is just taking stars in there, but we can just work on that and make it more beautiful. But it is good for now for testing. And in the meantime, we can just check something else here, the metrics in our Azure AI Foundry, that to see how many requests just came in. It was 117, for example, and the total token actually that was sent to this to this service. That's interesting, to see these numbers. And one more thing is just to check the table, right, that is containing this data now. But before that, let's just rename this notebook, and let's just call it AI Sentiment Analysis Notebook. Cool. Awesome. And let's go to our Lakehouse. In the Lakehouse, we should expect that table here. And now, as you can see, we have the customer feedback enriched, and we can just see that here. Cool. And as I mentioned, we can just process this data in the SQL Analytics endpoint. Then, in the table list, we can just see that again and just create, queries on top of that. But it is not again what we want to check. The only thing that we want to check now here is just creating a report on top of this, right? I'm going to just create a new report in Power BI. But before that, let's just manage the items that we would like to have is the customer feedback enriched. And let's confirm it. to create the report, I'm going to just use a pie chart. The pie chart here, and the data that I want to just show is my sentiment and the customer ID. But as you can see, the data is not that clean. We need to just clean that with using something like, data flow, or even in that notebook, we can just replace those, stars with something, right? Or sentiment, actually columns then with empty or blank values. However, we can just make it more beautiful, and we can basically filter the data here and just look at better, negative, neutral, and positive for now. And again, we can make it more beautiful by just changing a color for positive, for example, green. For negative, let's use red, for example, and for neutral, let's use something like yellow. Yeah, it is our report on top of this, and we can always see the sentiments, from our customer feedback. So let's just save it quickly, and let's say customer feedback report, for example, and let's save it in our workspace. And the last thing that I want to mention is just automating this process, right? Our notebook has been created. We execute that notebook, which is fine. But for the data analysis, basically, for real-time data analysis that we have like this, for the customer feedback that is coming every single day, every hour even, right? We can just automate it, right? In order to automate that, I'm going to use a data pipeline by creating a new item and data pipeline. And let's just call it AI sentiment analysis pipeline, for example. Let's create it. And here I'm going to just, for example, getting that notebook to be executed. The only notebook actually that I have in this workspace is AI sentiment analysis notebook. And we can just save it, and we can schedule it to be executed. Example, daily at 9 p.m. Cool, we're good. And the start date can be started from now until let's say by end of this month, end of next month. And let's apply it. And even it can be executed, and it ran successfully. Awesome. That's it. We have built an end-to-end AI-powered sentiment analysis pipeline in Microsoft Fabric. And let me know in the comments if you have any questions, and don't forget to check out the code on GitHub. Link is in the description, and until the next time, take care.